John, you already know what it's going to be. It's going down in a few more seconds. Valencia Real Podcast. Let's go.
What's up, fam? It's your boy, Dr. Mike, and it's almost that time to get real, raw, and relatable. Looking forward to talking to y'all soon. Peace.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Terrence. Welcome back to another season of Relentlessly Real Podcast. So excited to have you all back. We got a lot of great stuff. Check us out.
Yeah, so I don't know why that video just ended in the middle of the thing. It was struggling all throughout. Let's see if this intro works, bro. You there, T?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, let's see if this intro works.
You're now listening to The Real.
Man, I appreciate them dudes for talking about
The Raw.
Wait, they were talking about
The Relatable.
That's exactly what I've been going through.
The Relentlessly Real Podcast.
I just want to have we're waiting for our friend John to come back on. I want to have a quick moment of silence for our fallen godfather and beloved friend and, companion, Kevin Samuels. If you just want to bow your heads and how do I say goodbye to what we had? The good times that made us laugh.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on, T.
I was giving you interrupted our moment of silence for
T.
Kevin Samuels.
I interrupted the moment of silence. I was like, yo, what is up with my computer? It just started doing all crazy stuff. Yeah, welcome to the Valencia Real Podcast, where we discuss real, raw, and relatable topics.
Alicia,
Terrence, we're going to have a moment of silence in 1 second, please. In 1 second, okay? Welcome, everybody. Welcome. I apologize. I know my system just started acting crazy out of nowhere. We were having full conversations right before this transpired, and then I started the intro, and everything went bananas. I don't know why. But again, welcome to the Valencia Real Podcast, where we discuss real, raw, and relatable content. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to our podcast today. Let's kick this off with some introductions. My name is John.
And I am today known as Don Julio.
Don Julio.
Yeah.
Why that name, T?
I've been on this alcohol fast, and
You're still doing it?
Yeah.
Nobody really believes this is happening.
Nobody believes I'm doing it.
I don't think it's a believable thing.
I think
like when you're saying like, yo, I'm really gonna hold back.
I'm really doing it. I'm not doing it. Like,
you're really not doing it because you're drinking something right now, right?
Yeah, but it's a cherry. It's like a cherry Sprite. That's all it is.
It's a cherry Sprite.
Yeah.
That's interesting, T. Are you sure there's no Don Julio inside of that cherry Sprite?
I feel like you're calling me out. I feel like why would you call me out? And
I think it's appropriate. I think if you're fasting from something and you're saying, hey, I'm going to give this up, for the next however many days, I think it's appropriate for you to say, you know what, let me really truly give it up and not have any kind of alcohol, Mr. Don Julio.
That's rude for you to call me out.
Yeah, okay, whatever. I hope you guys enjoyed Cinco de Mayo. I can tell you one thing, we enjoyed it. Myself, Terrence, and a couple of other friends of ours, Phil, and if you know him, Philip Watson, and Antonio Taylor. We all met up for what is it, Cinco de Mayo, and went to the city, went to DC. We're located, if you don't know.
Were we in DC? Because we have so much conversation about what it transpired that day. I don't even know if we were really in DC.
I don't want to talk about it because it made me feel like we were in Baltimore City, even though we were in
We can't
Washington,
talk about Baltimore City.
D.C.
After what we need to tell the people what happened down in the nation's capital. What happened that made us feel like, because I've never even had that experience, even in my good old city. Like, I'm trying to figure out why you have a baby at a bar. Like,
Right.
there was a full-on infant. It was a full-on infant at the bar, and they were passing the infant down the bar.
What location? What were we? I forget the name of the restaurant.
We were in Navy Yard.
We was in Navy Yard area. Yeah, and it was there was a baby at the bar. There was actually two babies at the bar.
The one baby was playing with his Nintendo Switch on the bar stool. On his bar stool.
The other baby was maybe about 4 or 5 months old.
Easily 4 or 5 months at the bar.
And a couple of fights broke out as well. So I was like, it's a regular
day. And the bartender
was
like, this is normal. They were just like, so can I take your order? You don't see that this day at this point, we're all about to get shot. Like,
yeah, it was a good day in DC. That's how I look at it.
It was very interesting.
So we're gonna hop into a little bit later, talking about Kevin Samuels. I think Terrence already did the moment of silence for everything that transpired. No, it wasn't a baby.
The baby weren't fight that we know of, John. That we know of. We left before they closed. The babies could have squared off before we even.
As far as we could tell, then there were full-grown adults running after each other, saying, "No, you ain't going to do that to me. You ain't going to tell me." And the chick was, I was like, "Yo, here we go. Here we go."
She reached around and snatched the girls. I was like, "Oh shoot!"
Yeah.
What up, Dr. T? What up, Dr. T?
Yeah. What's up? It was a straight-on fight. So we're gonna hop right into the podcast today, guys. We are excited because there's a lot to talk about. Terrence even sent me something. I haven't opened it yet, but I'm not going there yet. Before I go there, this is my question of the day. Here we go.
Here we go.
He's with his wife, right? Walking with his wife on the street. Gets robbed at gunpoint. Like somebody got a gun on him and his wife. And while he getting robbed, his wife takes off running and leaves him there to be robbed by himself. Do you think she made the right decision? Do you feel a way about her leaving her husband in that situation?
So do you feel a way about if someone comes up to you and Tanisha or me and Jovita and it says, "Hey, I'm going to rob these people," right? I'm going to rob them. And your wife runs for her life. T, would you feel a way about it? Yes or no? She runs for her life, leaves you there to die. That's the basic premise of this conversation. What's ignorant? Somebody got to live to tell a story. That's what that's where we are.
Well, it's 2022, and we believe in equality. If the situation is vice versa, and somebody runs up on you, can I just leave?
And see, that is a great question, T.
I just want to know: am I allowed to leave?
You're not allowed to leave. I think it's funny that you even went there, but because I think at the end of the day, we have to have that conversation, right? Because we're always talking about feminism. We're always talking about equality. And with that, we have to say, hey, what are we going to do in a situation for a woman? So here's what I think. Here we go.
Dismantling these institutions for the next generation. I make sure that my daughters know that they can do anything. Hey, how's that firewood coming, sweetie? It's going to be a cold winter. So learn from us. My wife and I are proof that you don't have to fall into problematic gender roles in your marriage. Isn't that right, honey? Give me all your money! Here's the gun! Honey, do something. Be the change you want to see in the world by standing up to the systemic power imbalances between men and women. By standing up to this man while I run away.
So clearly,
you set me up.
I did set you up.
Because you knew I was going to go there. For those who don't know, we don't discuss these things before. Like, you knew I was about to go there.
No, we don't. So it's okay. Be the change you want to see and throw your wife in front of the gun. I love that. I love that I'm went out. There. But hold on, T. So somebody's coming to rob you and Tanisha. If Tanisha runs, how do you feel? That's really the question.
It's rude.
It's what part is rude?
You're supposed to ride or die. Right now is the die phase. I just don't understand. Like,
yeah,
nah. And so honestly, I feel like the protection. I feel like the protection. I want you to. I would want like my. The protection steps in. By all means, I think that's different.
You should.
It is different.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm making jokes.
But it's funny because you are making jokes, but I think the arguments that we have now, and I saw Alicia say a nice little sigh when we started saying
What's
that
up, Marquita?
the whole feminism piece. Yeah, what's up, Marquita? The whole feminism piece, where we start to say, hey man, this is part of the argument though. We're all saying equality, equity, it's all about us being even. Until when? Until the gunpoint thing?
See, that's why I believe in equity, not equality. Equity means, I'm gonna sit here and I will take care of this situation while you run. Now, I have a caveat though.
Okay,
I have a caveat.
What's your caveat?
If my wife is a well-trained 5th degree black belt, Navy SEALs, John Wick typing thing, I'm just a regular like computer science major, whatever it is the expectation that you are now well qualified. Equity would say you are more trained than me to deal with this situation. So therefore, when he comes up with the gun, I'm imagining he should have been disarmed as soon as he went to pull his hand because you're supposed to be good with this stuff. So I feel like that's the only way my lens would change a little bit, but
yeah. I'm not defining feminism. I'm not even going to try to go down that road. I was just leading with the question, Jamal. But Alicia does say equity does not equal equality.
100%.
Yeah. And so, but I think this idea of feminism that is being defined not by me. I'm not even going to define it today. I haven't done nearly enough research of what feminism has become over this time. I'm like, at the end of the day, I'm gonna take care of my spouse. I'm gonna make sure she's alive. You know what I'm saying? So I wouldn't feel away if she ran. I guess is my basic.
I wouldn't feel away. No, I wouldn't feel away.
I think it's actually important that she runs because I'm like, if we both die, then what? You know what I'm saying? Like then it's not okay. So that was my take on it. T. That was what
so like all jokes aside,
yeah,
I 100% agree with that thinking. I would feel away. I feel like yes, the protection should step in, and you should be like, get out of here, etc.
Right. Right. No, I agree. So moving on, I had another question, T, for you. And it's like not really a question, more of a statement, but women in general, when it comes to the topic of dealing with initiating something within sexual encounters, right? I found a really dope TikTok about this, and I wanted to share it. I wanted to see what your thoughts were about it. So this is what I found.
Listen, here's some ways that I initiate. I walk up behind them and I rub my hand up his chest and then I rub it down and I fondle him a little bit and I might say something like, "Boy, you looking fine as ever. I might have to take you down. You trying to meet me in the bedroom?" Another thing, if he's sitting on the bed, I walk up to him and kiss him very passionately. I let him rub on my booty a little bit and then I'll lean forward, letting him know I need you to lay back. You get on top and them clothes are removed accordingly, okay? And if you're feeling real frisky and you want to get a little nasty, say something like, "Hey, you want to see if I can fit your whole thing down my throat and then get on top and make you explode? Huh, you want to try that out? Come on, meet me in my office, my bedroom. Do you hear me?" But that's some stuff I do because I'm fun with it. Me and my husband, we joke around, but those tend to help for me initiate. My husband like me being frisky, freaky, nasty, fun, so stuff like that really gets his rocks popping. And then I get popping. Okay.
I just love her energy like throughout the entire video. But what I was going to ask is when women, please don't take this the wrong way, but do women have enough self-confidence to do this? This is not a shot. This is really a question. Is this something that's realistic for women to say, I'm going to initiate and I'm going to be this forward in a marital or, any dating, any kind of situation? Is this something that can be the regular chemistry of people? Or is it like, because I feel like a lot of times in marriage, people like overthink it or dating. They overthink it. They get lost in their head, lost in their mind about it. Like, oh, I don't know if I could do this. And they might run the other direction. And I'm wondering with that level of energy she gave, I was like, man. And I agree, Tony, we are grown. But at the end of the day, even though we grown, I think we forget. You know what I'm saying? So, what was your thoughts, T, on that?
I feel like, so I'm hearing what the girl is saying, and I'm playing devil's advocate. I feel like what it needs to happen is a conversation between the guy and the girl is, how would you like me to initiate? Because I think every guy is not going to respond. Like in broad stroke, you think some guys would, but some guys wouldn't, right? I think there's a plethora of guys who will be like, do respond, like, oh shoot, whatever it is, But I think you need to be very clear. Like, there needs to be a conversation. How would you want me to initiate? It's just that conversation is always weird, and it's never had. And I don't know why people don't want to have it. You know what I'm saying? Like it seemed, and we talked about this before the previous episodes, like, because of like if the religious aspects, the church aspect, it seemed to be like very like, that's, we don't talk about that, no, you need to talk about that, because like if however that guy wants to be, you should initiate. I think you should do. I think women should take the lead in initiating. That's that across the board. It makes sense no matter where it is.
I agree. I think it's such a loss. I don't know, like a lost thing in dating or even marriage for women to initiate sex. That like I'm for it when it happens. Like, I'm like, it happens. I'm like, yo, that's wild. Like, when it happens, it's definitely a turn on, right? Like,
I want to know what is going on. What is between Marquita and what is going? What is going on here in between Brandy and Marquita?
Brandy says Marquita give it to me. LOL. Period. Don't make me ask for it. Okay. And Tony says, listen, I know men want to feel desired too.
That's
yes.
right, Doug.
So the thing is, yes, men do want to feel desired too, and I think a lot of times there's not a lot of conversation like what Terrence is saying about that, and it doesn't allow for a sense of like a man to feel wanted and respected and feel like he's desired. We've talked about that before in our groups too as well, T, like where we talk about stuff amongst our team. Like, men want to feel desired, men want to feel pursued, it doesn't want to always be a male dominated thing where man is always the one initiating a sexual encounter.
I told you, I'm a big component of I'm not even just like the sex stuff. I'm a component of a woman even initiating like hollering at a guy. There's this whole big thing that women shouldn't holler at men or whatever it is. And like Jam said, like I agree, it's the cultural expectation that men should and would initiate. And
where do we get that from though? Like, I got questions, T, because I'm like, where do we get it from that men need to initiate sex? How do you understand that?
So to play devil's advocate, the historic, this all comes from historic male toxicity. One of the greatest classes I ever took in Towson University was the history of gay and lesbianism, and I stumbled, and I had to take this class because it was like one of the last ones on my those things you got to fill, and all the other ones I didn't care about Russian history, I didn't care about that, but this is only okay, cool. And one of the dopest things that I learned in that class was some of the abuse of men and how for centuries it was believed that women, not only did they not get anything from sex, but it literally was it was believed that it was only for men. It was literally just for men. It's only for men. It's only for men. It's only for men. And so if that's centuries, we're talking up to like literally the 1900s, the 20th century. And so we're not even within 100 years of that thinking actually shifting in most first world countries. And so in that sense, if it's only for men and it's something that men only want and women don't, then men are going to lead that. Yeah. Men are going to lead that. And so it is us. And so we got to kind of shift that, over like that narrative and push it out. Like, and then like to Jan's point, it's also this concept. If a woman comes on too, she's a thought. She's a hoe. She's like, she's this, she's that. And I'm like, yo, that's not true. That's your man. That's etc. You better go up there and grab his, grab it.
Yeah.
Like, grab it.
Cup it.
He watching the game. He enjoying the game, whatever it is. Like, babe, don't shut up. Keep watching the game. Like, I'll do this through a commercials break. Do you understand? Like, game goes off. You want to see your man turn the game off real quick?
No. Game can stay on. I could do two things at once.
She said, cup it. I can't.
I can do two things at once.
Yo.
Bop it. Twist it.
Yes.
Remember that game, Young?
Yeah, you remember that game. Listen, I'm telling you that game gonna go off. Like, look, let me be on that joint playing Call of Duty. And Yeah, I hit y'all right back. I gotta go. Like,
Yo, Jam said I'm uncomfortable. Good. I'm glad you're uncomfortable.
we what?
It's a good thing, and I think going back to that topic, I think it's so frustrating because it's like, man, it's good. It's a good thing for you. It's so weird to me. And this I guess it happens too when you're drinking, right? Like you start off drinking, like when you can't drink, right? Before you're 21. Or 21's the age. Okay, yeah. Before, when we were in college, and I was in college, when we were sneaking alcohol, trying to drink whatever, then you become 21. It's like you get all access, you don't care as much. And I think it's the same thing. It's true, I guess, within marriage and sex and all that. It's like it feels like, oh yeah, like before it was like it's hot and heavy. Yes, all this. Then you get unlimited amounts of time and whatever energy, and it just doesn't happen. But one thing that I think is interesting is this idea of this woman just saying, yeah, I'm gonna just go up and I'm gonna grab this man and I'm gonna be the one to do it. I think there's a certain level of confidence, and somebody said it wasn't. Somebody earlier, way back, said like it's not about self-confidence. I actually think it is, though. I think a self-confident woman is the one that goes and does something more often than not, like than the other person that's not as self-confident.
Yeah, I think it's self-confidence, and also it's self-confidence definitely. I do think that it needs to be a role on the man making her confident to do that.
Like, I agree.
She needs to. So let me be. I'm gonna say it's not even self-confidence because she could be self-confidence. She needs to have some sense of sexuality too. She needs to be confident in her sexuality. I think that, in my opinion, if she has no, like, that's uncomfortable for her and that sexuality, she's not going to do that.
Yeah.
And so I think
there's a lot of men, but I think she means men. A lot of men don't know how to sexually satisfy a woman. So they are only focused on the man or men's pleasure.
I'm not discounting it. I've been a huge advocate that I think that in that area men can be very selfish.
Right. We talked about that before, like how movies train you in that, because they kind of tell you, the man gets up, gets his, throws it around, gets his again, walks away, and like the whole sexual account is over. You hear nothing about the woman, getting any kind of rocks off at all. It's like as long as that dude got his, he's like, it's over.
100%.
So
100%.
I wonder how much of that conditioning does that. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And Alicia said something earlier about how at least not all women. One thing we gotta be cognizant is that a lot of women, again, for them, sex doesn't begin in the bedroom. And for most men, like and when I say broad strokes, I'm doing all broad strokes. I know I'm doing broad, but I'm gonna go real high. I'm gonna say 98% of men. Like sex begins the moment you come out and I'm turned on. Period. Just
men don't need the text throughout the day.
No, we don't need that
to get that thing started.
No. But that stuff helps. Like, I
don't think I care. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I'm not gonna lie. If I'm at work and I get a text, like if I get a GIF, a GIF or whatever it is, like what are you doing later? And it's like I'm gonna be real gross right now, and it's a picture of the band Sprite commercial, and like it's just all this fluid coming out of a girl's mouth. Like I'm letting you know when you get home. Yeah. What's up?
I'm trying to think. I don't think that would...
John, if you at work and you get a GIF or an emoji, like,
hey,
John.
Whoa.
I'm just saying.
For people driving, for people that are not looking at this on Facebook or YouTube right now.
Yes, Terrence, it's the GIFs.
Don Julio Robinson just made his tongue inside of his cheek, stick his cheek out.
I had to, that's the only way I can say it. If you did that, if you got that, like from your wife.
Oh, I'm so disgusted. I almost wish I didn't bring it up, guys. I'm very much so. I
meant to say from his wife. Yeah, if you get that, like.
I don't want to ever see you do that again. That's what I'm going to speak to you right now.
I do. I apologize.
Oh, God.
I was clearly talking about.
God, hide your kids. I know we made this a late night experience, but you just went all the way in.
Super pause.
Yeah, I agree with Brandon. You got to keep it interesting, and I agree. Yes, that's a thing that happens in marriages too, where it grows stale, grows old, whatever the case may be. So I can see how the GIFs can kind of get you there and be like, oh, okay,
yeah.
I see what. I also don't, but I guess the other side of that coin, T, is I don't love the planned sex though. Like I can't stand like, ooh, when you get home tonight, You about to get this work? Am I? You know what?
Is it because you don't believe it?
I mean, it may be a little bit of that, but it don't even happen like legit. But I'm just saying when it has happened, because it has happened in the past, right? Like they don't have like kids, yeah. But before, it was like, this feels a little bit like I don't know, like weird, because it feels less organic. And I used to like the organic.
You know
what I mean? I want to feel like, oh my god, this is it. Oh, what we about to do now? We out here in the woods. You know,
I'm so big on organic too. But you know what's so funny?
Sorry, Marquita said I love a good plan because I be busy. I'm sorry. Go ahead, T.
It's funny because I remember like in college, everything was almost planned. Yeah. Like makes sense. Like you, in a sense, you did kind of like map out your Friday night with the expectation. You know, I'm playing devil's advocate, and now we get married, and it needs to be more organic because I have access to it. I'm okay with the switch. Don't get me wrong, because I'm super on organic. It needs to be. I need it to be organic. I'm okay with the switch. But it's just funny how it does change.
Yeah, in college, it definitely was a thing of like, yo, I know Friday
sneaking. Yeah,
I know Friday night is gonna be a night. First of all, everybody on college campuses, Friday night to Sunday, is sleeping with somebody. I just want to make that claim. Yes. And I would even dare say if you don't have an 8 a.m., like it just was happening all over campus. You know what I'm saying? But I want to be clear to say, like, yeah, the spontaneity. And I say I'm more with Marquita. I think a little bit of both is cool.
Yeah, I need both.
Where you're just kind of like, I know we got to schedule it because life is just life right now. But at the end of the day, too, hey man, if it becomes so stale, like I'm just like, all right, I'm not even into this anymore. Like, you know, I'm on autopilot. Oh, it's like the Kevin Hart joke. Oh, you want me to turn over? Okay, yeah, I know the same thing every time. Like, I don't want to be programmed sexual experiences. Is basically what I'm saying. You know?
but going back to the main topic, and I know we gotta move on.
We do.
I think the issue is, speaking of Kevin Hart jokes, if a woman, a lot of times it's a fear if a woman, you know, sends you those nasty gifs. Or comes in and grabs you, you know what? Your man's gonna be like, when did this become a whorehouse? Like, what's going on here? Like, what are we doing? And I'm saying there's a vast amount of guys like, no, you need to pull up with the same energy that I pull up with. Because I'm letting you right now, you know that everybody know that joke. If we in the kitchen and you cooking and I walk past you and I don't slap you, you know what? What's the problem? Excuse me, what's wrong? What's going on? Like, makes sense?
Somebody saying if a man don't slap that butt, something's up.
Yeah, like are we beefing? Is there something wrong? Yeah, you know.
So here's my question then: what's the sign for women? If that's a sign from men to women that, hey, yeah, you looking good, slap that butt. What's the sign from women to men? Is there a sign?
You pull my beard, it's on.
That's the weirdest thing. I did not think he was gonna say that.
Sorry. You pull my beard.
Pull your beard.
You pull my beard.
I don't have that kind of beard, T. I know you can't. I'm like, let me sit here trying to grab. I'm like, you can't grab in my beard, but I see what you're saying there. Okay,
you pull my beard. Like, all right. You
that's what it is.
Work. You about to get this work. That's a sign. Yes.
I've known you for so many years, and I'm glad I didn't know that. But that's your go-to. Okay,
like, yeah.
Marquita says,
you start rubbing like
it takes me every time.
I'm bald headed. You start grabbing behind my neck and rubbing my bald. Like that's why it'd be so, for me, honestly, it weird.
Also, they rub your bald head.
Yes. Like sometimes I'm at work and these kids, Mr. Robert, can you rub your bald head? No, you cannot rub my head. No, it's weird. Yeah, it's weird. Yeah. It's inappropriate off the top. Yeah. That's not for you. Don't rub my bald head. Like.
And who knows what inadvertent thing might pop up if you if you rub this.
And those are the non-obvious things. You unzip my pants, like duh, like you know.
Yeah. I mean, come on. Yes, if you unzip the pants.
Only thing you cannot do is don't scoop me up like I would scoop you up. Don't scoop me up and put me on the counter. Like,
yo, I don't know. I no longer am the man now.
At that point,
I am now the female. Yeah,
you gotta squat up. Like
that's hilarious. I think that should happen sometimes. Like somebody should just pick you up out of nowhere.
Absolutely not. Do not pick me up.
Okay, you don't want.
First of all, you can pick me up. I'm all of 270. If you can pick me up and put me on the counter, we it's over. We gotta break up.
Take you to Pound Town.
All right.
Terrence, this is what you said.
Last fight, I was tired. I was exhausted. I'm about to launch this NFT that's going to change the fight game. And I put in 30 all-nighters before that fight. I had herpes before that fight, 2 outbreaks in the span of a week. I'm here. I'm healthy. Let's go. Whatever. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I was
Last
just
fight,
playing
I was
again.
tired. I was exhausted. I'm about to launch this NFT that's going to change the fight game. And I put in 30 all-nighters before that fight. I had herpes before that fight, 2 outbreaks in the span of a week. I'm here. I'm healthy. Let's go. Whatever.
Sir, you are disclosing too much.
So for me, I saw it. I just wanted John to see that like immediately, and I wanted you all to see fresh. How did we get there? Like,
yeah, we're just
number one. How did we get there?
Yeah.
Second of all, you just won a huge match, whatever
Right.
it is. You actually might get some tonight, but now
that's it.
At this moment, no one even wants to fight you. I don't even want to fight you anymore.
And you have herpes, and you just told a whole crowd of people.
The entire crowd.
Yeah.
So
I like the way he just slipped it in there, though, like as if it's like a part. Like I woke up this morning, I brushed my teeth, I washed my face, you know what I'm saying? I got herpes, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, bro, whoa.
And then he mixed that with the 30 all nighters. So do all 30 of them got herpes now? Because I want to know what were you doing? Like, what were you engaged in? Like,
man, that is hilarious.
It was a lack of sleep that got him hurt. Is that what it is? Oh shoot,
Bruh.
I can't get myself checked in because I ain't getting no sleep. Oh
Bruh.
crap. Lisa, don't scare me like that.
So I have this video that I thought was really dope, and I want to add this to the conversation because I think it would be dope if this happens in real life.
Wow, you're gorgeous.
Hey, thank you. How are you?
I'm alright. Why you got that on though?
What do you mean?
I'm not really dressed for a date.
I mean, I'm really just here for the free food, so.
Okay. Well, you at least coming over after?
I don't really do that on the first date.
Whoa now. I'm gonna have to drop you right here, man.
Oh,
No beat in the week.
all right. Nice
All right.
meeting you.
I mean, you too. Have a good one. Unfollow me.
So basically,
shout out. That's one of my favorite people on TikTok.
Oh, really?
That's one of my favorite couples. They are hilarious. They are hilarious.
So basically, I mean, I wanted to ask this question after seeing that video. It made me think, like, yo, how honest are people in relationships? Is there a certain amount of things that we just don't say to keep the peace within relationships? Do we keep things like, especially in, I mean, and it could be friendships too. It's not just like, it's not just marriage, right? Like this is one that's for anybody. Like
that's a good point.
Do we keep things super hidden? If we would have just be like off the break, this is what I think, this is what I think, this is what I think. Will we even be happy? Will we have any more friends left? And will we have any more marriages left? And will we have any more dates or dating left?
I feel like relationships, any type of relationship requires you at some point, in some capacity, to be cognizant of the other person's feelings, within a certain, like within reason. I think at a certain point that you are now totally uncomfortable, and you really can't be your full self. You can't even be part of yourself. I think it's the point where you should be honest and walk away from that friendship. And so, and I'm like kind of going through that in some of my friend circles as well. I feel like across the board, I think any relationship, to maintain a relationship, sometimes you can't be your 100% unfiltered, say everything you want to say and everything you think to maintain the friendship. And that's the sacrifice of keeping the friendship together. Sacrifice a relationship. It's like not even a relationship. It's like even at work. My work couldn't handle my on 100% adulterous self. There's no way in the world. So I gotta shade some of that to maintain my job, to maintain this financial relationship. Make sense? And so,
and to Jamal's point, like he said, are we equating honesty with tact? I think yeah. I mean, I think honesty, because I know I struggle in this area, because people that know me know I'll be like, I'll say something and it don't always get through all the filters, and it just be like said, it's already out there, right? So I guess my point in saying that is I'd rather have honest relationships though than to be like thinking things, harboring things secretly about that person that gets on my nerves or frustrates me. I don't like to have that. I don't like to be around people that, especially at this age, like I don't want to have people in my space or in my life that I'm not like, yo, this is like how I am or how I roll. I don't want to be sitting here trying to like fake it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I had to get I'm slowly evolving to that point where I'm
thank you, Marquita,
a little bit more confrontational.
Yes.
I think with tact, but still saying how I feel and saying how I think about situation. And I think for some people it's catching people off guard. They're like a little taken back by it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care right now. You know,
Yeah.
it makes sense. Like it's just, but because I think the opposite of not being like that is that people think that they're at this level with you, and they're really not, because you didn't really say what you wanted to say a long time ago. So it is. I think it's always about trying to walk in that tightrope of saying how you feel, what you say, like etc.
And so I agree with I agree. It's funny because I agree and disagree with one of the things Alicia just said. So I agree that Alicia says I'm confrontational, but I try to be as careful and loving as I possibly can be. And I agree with that part. What I disagree with is what she said exactly, and everything we think or want to say isn't helpful. I guess I agree that it isn't helpful, but I guess the point is it the point to be helpful, or is it the point to be able to be your truest version of yourself? Like, I'm not looking to be helpful. I'm looking to be authentically me and not have to like change who I am because I'm trying to be a liar for you because I don't want you to know what I really think and feel about you.
Yeah. And it could be an issue of where you are in your friendship phase. I feel like in the getting to know you phase, especially when you're younger, I think it's difficult when we're older. Because the older getting to know you phase for me is different. The older getting to know you phase will be a little bit more confrontational. Like right now, if I'm getting to know you right now, I'm going to be a little bit more confrontational than I was 10 years ago. And I'm probably going to have maybe like say, yeah, that's not going to work for me. Or this is not going to work quicker than I was.
Yeah.
And then before I would have just faked the funk. I would just been like, you make sense? So where are we on the phase of are we just getting to know each other? Because I feel like as a friend, my place with you should be a little bit higher, where even if I say something confrontational, you should trust what we like our friendship. Where I'm saying it respectfully
100%.
and with love. Makes
Yeah.
sense. Whereas somebody who don't know me is not going to catch that vibe. So I'm not going to be like that with them. Well, you don't really have no value to me yet, so I don't really care that much to tell you that your breath stinks. Like like it makes sense. But once I know you, hey yo, when's the last time did you brush your teeth often? I'm just asking. I'm not being confrontational. I'm just asking, do you brush your teeth that often?
Right. That's not great.
It's kind of tired.
Yeah. And I like what
we had a friend. I'm not gonna say who it is on the show. We had a friend. We had a friend for a while whose wife, she had to have halitosis. She had to absolutely have. There's no way in the world she did not have halitosis. And my thing is, I'm not that close with you to tell you that. Makes sense. I'm not that close with you. I'm not even that close with your husband to tell him that, hey, yo, by the way, your wife stopped talking. She got halitosis. You know, it makes sense. But I'm at a point now where if it's
serious out of pocket right now. I'm trying to take him serious. I'm like, you are out of pocket right now.
All right, I'm just not.
Dear God, like, what are you doing? Just stop talking.
Okay.
So some of what was said, Brandy says, but is it lying or delivery? I'm with it. Like, yeah, it's not lying. It could be delivery, right? Like, and Jamal says, like you were saying, it depends on the relationship and how you see the person you're relating to, which I do agree. And then Alicia said, we don't have to hide who we are or not be honest. I just think if you love someone, you learn their communication styles and all. It's work, but it's worth it and saves folk from unnecessary pain. I like unnecessary pain. I'm just kidding. I'm with you on that one as well, Alicia. So I just had to ask that quick question. Did you have anything else to add on that one?
No, that's good. I like Alicia's point because at the end of the day, the goal is for the message to get across.
Exactly. And I'm with that. So I was earlier today, I was checking out the Straight from the Heart podcast, and I talk about this podcast all the time because I think it's so funny. So Sirius XM, and they had this great question. So Kevin Hart was talking about how he allows one day a week where his kids can talk freely without any punishment or repercussion. Now I will say this. I'm about to curse for a little bit, so just so y'all know. So they would literally say, like, and I quote, they could say fuck, shit, ass, bitch, or whatever, right? Whatever words they want to say. They can say how they feel about those things that are going on in the house at the time and or speak freely about their sex life. Do you think this is something that should happen in households today? Or do you think the house should always be a space where kids can speak freely? So the question is, do you think there should be an allotment, a day where your kids can be able to say whatever they want to say throughout the entire day? Hey, Dad, I just smashed this chick yesterday. I had a great time. It was amazing.
we're not
And
doing
you
that.
can listen. And you cannot respond. You can't say nothing. It's just like they're just talking to you like off the freeness, or I didn't like how you talked to me yesterday. I didn't like how you said this. You need to lower your effing tone with me, Dad. Like they're able. So can your child have this level of engagement with you?
No. So employee-employer relationship. That's what I have with my child. I'm the boss.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not your coworker. I'm not your subordinate. I'm your boss. And I use this energy with my students all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what you and Carlos have going on, whatever it is. You can tell them shut the F up. You can whatever, etc.
Yeah.
And I say this. I'll be talking to my employees like, and I have coworkers here.
Mm-hmm.
See that guy right there? That's my coworker. If he come in here and disrespect me, I'm gonna disrespect him back.
Mm-hmm.
You know who I'm never gonna disrespect? I'll be like, move real quick. See that lady right there? That's my boss. I don't care how she cut it, how she say it. I'm never there's never gonna be a day where I give it to her straight. I'm in her face, etc.
Mm-hmm.
It's a level of deference for that person.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think I have with my kids. I will say I am a firm believer that I want to be more fluid in the situations. And so what I'm saying is if I tell TJ come in this room, he's visibly frustrated, he's upset, shut the door. You can tell me exactly how you want to say it, what bothers you, and the ways you want to say it, because I want to see how you feel about that. Make sense? And I'm not going to give you any repercussions. I believe that there are moments that calls for. And and I'm like that with my students. If I'd rather you come in my office, shut the door, and I'm a curse, Mr. Robinson, I'm being 100% honest. I'm about to fuck Tyrone up. He got one more good time to get in my space. I'm going to punch him in his face. And that's the end of the story. I'm sick and tired. The fact that you had enough energy to not say it in his face, not do it out there, not cause makes it, but you came in a private workspace, let it out, show me a level of maturity, a level of what I want you to have as you seek into the employment world. Self-control. Yeah. I'm okay with that. Once I shut this door, you can kick it how you kick it. You can say it, but just also know I'm probably going to say how I say it too. So don't be going home to your mom and be like, yo, Mr. Robinson cuss. No, I'm probably going to say it how to say it because now we're in a space where we're just like, you see where I'm going? I'm okay with that.
Yeah. I see Marquita talking about my mom did allow us to speak freely. We also had contracts and consequences for breaking them. I want to know more about that because I want to know what kind of contracts y'all had. But I think outside the school example, I'm talking about if I talk explicitly from the home example, I guess I'm trying to extract or understand is when I was growing up, this is like you were a different person at school than you was at home.
Absolutely. You
understand? And so a part of me as having two young girls, right? I don't want to go to school and be like, who is this person
it's gonna happen
that I don't know at all? Like I hear you say that I've seen people that have great relationship with their kids, and I believe that their kid shows them almost all of who they are at home. I would rather have that than go to school and be completely shocked.
No,
what?
I don't want that.
You don't want to know your kid to that degree at home.
I want you to go to school and have a certain level of decorum. I want you to go to school and be able to act like a professional. And to me, because I want you to be an employee who can go to work and act like a professional. And so to me, it's always about the transition. It's always about the practice ground. So school is practice for your place of employment. And the issue that I have with kids and even my child, whatever it is that you don't understand is that you have to have this level of deference when you at work, and how you act in the streets or whatever it is totally different. But when you at work, I got a conflict at work, I'm gonna handle it a professional way. I got a conflict in my community. Now myself, I probably still wear it in a professional way, but it might be less professional. Make sense? And so I need you to understand the transition with that. So I don't want you to act the same. Now, I want you to act different because I want you to know how to tone it down I actually want you to be more calm out and work at school.
Yeah.
Like, and you could be less calm in the house.
Yeah.
Make sense? I want the opposite. I don't want you to come to school and you up there using foul words all day long. Because with the thing that if you're not an educator, you don't know. These kids these days don't turn it off. There's no respect for adults.
For adults, yeah.
But as far as cussing, all that stuff, when we were in school, yeah, we cussed, but if an adult was around, yo, shut up, chill.
Yeah,
that's
for yourself.
dead.
That's gone. I was cussing teachers out. You feel me?
Wow.
In the mean streets of District Heights. You feel what I'm saying? When I'm going to Suitland,
you probably was bringing babies to bars too.
With my violin on my back, man, I'm going in on these kids. Nah, but that wasn't my life at all. But I like what I'm hearing and I like what I'm saying. What I'm seeing. Brandy said, "My son will always ask, can I say the word? Then I give him permission, but don't think you can say whatever." And I think what I'm trying to say and I see is kind of coming from this conversation is there's a sense of the blendedness of how we grew up versus how we're seeing the world become today. And that's kind of what I'm speaking to. It's like, I grew up with, you couldn't say nothing. It was too far to the other extreme. I was like, man, you could go around in your room with your fist bombed up like, ooh, and you mad as a mug. I mean, you hitting the bed and you screaming into the pillow, but you better not come and bring that energy outside of your bedroom because I'm going to knock you back into the bedroom if you come outside like that. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and so that extreme there going to like, I'm having kids and I'm like looking at even as my relationship with my dad is evolving. I'm like, man, the dad my dad is now is not close at all to the dad that I grew up with. Like, I mean, when I say at all, I mean at all. I'm like, if this dude was my dad 20 years ago, I could have been a whole different person. Like I legit whole different person. But my dad was very like rigid and he was like, it's this way. I remember he used to throw my CDs away. I mean, he would go in my room, go through my clothes stuff. I mean, he would make us iron our clothes for the week. That my dad did not play. Like he did not play. You feel me? So imagine how much of me stayed out inside internally, how much I didn't share because of that. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm like, yo, I'm not talking to you about nothing. What can I actually talk to you about? Like, why would I want to talk to you about anything? You are ridiculous, right? So I'm trying to be the bridging gap now as a dad that's seeing how my dad did it for me and see what my daughters are. And I don't want my daughters.
I like
to be
James' question. Okay. Are there consequences for students in regards to that kind of behavior? So yes and no. Like the issue is the level of consequence I want to assign. Nah, I ain't got time to major in the minors, to be honest. Like I don't. You walking down the hallway saying, yo, won't you shut the F up, nigga, is the least of my problems.
Right.
You know, me confiscating a knife right now is the top of my is more important. And so I hate that that's where we are, but like literally it's to your point, John, a lot of these kids do cuss in front of their parents.
Yeah.
It's a vast majority of them. Like so me telling you not to cuss or me telling you to chill out is because when you go home, you don't gotta chill out. You don't make sense. You don't gotta like turn it off for your mom or whatever it is. See, I don't know what TJ does. I know TJ says his friends curse. The one thing I know is I hear my son on the game all day long. What the freak? So he's like, what the flip? And he don't know that we listening. So I think he's at a point where he still knows I better not curse. I know they curse.
TJ say flip.
Oh, he said, what the flip? He said, yo, like
he definitely cursing.
You're trash, man. You're trash. Like whatever it is.
Yeah,
and so he might.
No,
he knows. He knows. Don't let me find out. He got caught for writing curse words. He did.
Why was he writing it?
He had a whole story. He had a whole story he was written, and the guy was like, "F you, bang, 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 bang." I'm like, so I'm like, first of all, where'd you learn how to spell it? Like, where'd you learn how to spell it? I'm just where'd you learn how to spell it?
He is writing short stories of curse
stories. Like, so I blame myself because like some of these Marvel movies got a lot of curse words in it.
Sure,
you know, so we had to tone it down.
Yeah. I think it's a tightrope, and I just wanted to make sure I wasn't tripping about the idea of like, yo, should I be better about this as a parent for my kids? So let's get to the topic at hand, man. Mr. Kevin Samuels has gone to be with the Lord or not.
It was the weirdest 2 days. That was the weirdest 2 days. I have never in my life not seen somebody die in like a matter of 48 to 72 hours. Like,
and listen, I broke the story to our team of friends. I tried to tell T, I was like, yo, T, I think Kevin Samuels is dead. And T was like, I'm not clicking. I put a link in the joint. He's like, I'm not clicking that link. Or Phil, somebody said he's not clicking the link. Either way,
Yeah.
it was speculation of whether he was dead or not for about 24 to, like you said, 48 hours. And then we finally got confirmation that Mr. Kevin Samuels did pass away, apparently with a woman he was having a relationship with that night. And he had like a heart issue or something, I believe, and ended up dying.
So they say.
So there's this speculation in the air that, hey, is it something else? And I don't know if you guys have been following social media, but people have been celebrating. They have been rejoicing. Kevin Samuels has finally died. And it's sad to see, sad to hear. And I kind of wanted to have this conversation because I actually don't agree that he was as harmful as people have said he's been out to be. And I've actually had some clips, little short clips that I want to share of things that he was saying. May he rest in peace. And just see, was he wrong? I don't know.
What's going on? Does everyone have to have 6 figures and be a superhero? And that's really what you find out when you start asking women, what do you want? And what you're finding is women are wanting 2 to 3 kids. They don't want to have to work to pay significant bills, or they only want to have to work to pay 20% or less than the family bill. So you still want a provider male. That ain't the way this country's set up. Most people, you need 2 incomes. And then you're saying these guys aren't good enough. I'm talking to a woman in college and asked her, could you date a plumber? And off the rip, she said no. I'm like, you know how much plumbers make?
Yeah, it's a great job.
But I'm like, but it was the fact that not only do you want a guy, now you're discriminating where his money comes from.
Right.
It's insane. And that's what this show is starting to highlight, starting to break apart a lot of this delusion. Like
So he talks about delusion that exists within women. When he passed away, a lot of I don't know if you saw Vivica Fox had something to say about it. Did you see
that was did you got that? That was
I don't have it. I didn't even try to get that one. If you have that you can add that to the thing. But
let me say that was crazy.
Yeah, but the long story short is that he basically was, and I saw Brandy's comment saying, "Who do you have to lead you into the darkness now?"
John's going to take up the mantle of Kevin Samuels.
I will not.
I spoke it right here today. I spoke it right now.
No,
John is going to take up the mantle of.
I will not. I'm going to leave Kevin Samuels where he is, but I will say, I don't know if I believe that everything he did was wrong or everything he said was wrong. I think the delivery of how he said things was horrible, and I've said this before. This is another one I had, T.
I'm gonna watch it.
Me, I should be allowed to expect the same of you, and if you can't offer me that, you don't deserve to be in my life.
But that has nothing to do with fairness.
It has everything to do with fairness.
No, fairness means you get an opportunity. Fairness doesn't mean you get an outcome. You get an interview, not guaranteed a job.
No, you're not, but I work very, very hard to ensure that I keep it.
Well, if that's the case, you should. If that's the case,
right?
If that's the case, then if that's the case, you should be able to secure the things you want. So you should have no problem.
Obviously not. Not when men are out here believing like you don't have to be fair.
Well, those two things can't exist in the same place.
We haven't even been part of human history. It's just men, and all we care about is conflict.
Well, no. You just said you work very hard, so you should get the outcomes. See, if hard work was all that required, then we would almost be guaranteed. Hard work gets you a ticket to the dance. It doesn't guarantee you the top spot. How many? Who lost the Super Bowl, guys?
The Kansas City Chiefs.
Can you say they worked hard this year?
Very hard.
Number 2. Men don't worry about fairness. We worry about winning. And to the victor go the spoils. Just like, you know what? How many times you've gotten to a club into VIP for free when some ugly chicks had to pay full price?
Is that my fault?
No. I've asked how many times it happened before you go down that path.
I mean, plenty of times in Miami.
Exactly, but that's not fair, is it?
Well, please don't forget I'm not from here.
But that's not the point, ma'am. That's not fair, is it?
I also don't care about those things.
But so you only care about fairness when it doesn't benefit you.
I just don't go to clubs that often.
But that's not the point. I asked you, how many times you've gone to a club where you got in free where ugly chicks or less attractive chicks had to pay? And you know that's happened. You didn't say, excuse me, sir. Even though I'm attractive, I demand that you charge me full price. That's fair, right?
Okay, so because I
fair?
into places and get
fair?
That means that I should
Is that
get
fair? Before we go there, I'll answer your question if you at least answer mine. Is that fair?
life isn't fair.
Well, if that's the case, you accept it in the sexual marketplace too.
It doesn't mean I have to accept other people's
No.
bullshit.
Well, see, the thing is, ma'am, see what you've proven, like many feminists and many women, you're okay with the double standards that benefit you. But the ones you don't like, you just throw at the wind, use sign language, shame, insults, guilt, and the need to be right to deflect and dismiss guys who are normally intimidated by this thing. I'm not. I'm just challenging your positions. You're okay with it not being fair when it benefits you.
You're oversimplifying a very complex situation.
No, it's not really complex. There are no such thing as loyal. The concept of a loyal, highly effective, competitive alpha is a female notion.
And have to continue to compete with other pretty girls because men are too simple to stick with one.
Well, how about this? The kind of men you're talking about are simple enough to make the light you live in, the air conditioning, all the stuff that you, hold on, excuse me, ma'am. The simple men built the world that you use.
I built my own world. So
no,
again,
ma'am, you use the world we built.
All right, I'm going to stop there because I don't want to trigger anyone else.
So
But he said a lot of things. Before you go, T, I'm going to need these ladies not to join in on how they all thought and hated me when they
were
first
going
met me.
in.
Yeah, I see that. Oh, I hated John too. You hate John too? We should have a hate John crowd. All right, go ahead. Go ahead.
I didn't hate you, John. To be very clear, I didn't
Thank
hate
you,
you.
Terrence. You know,
Yeah, I hate you now, but I didn't hate you when you were at Tulsa.
Well, you know,
So
I
just
feel like that's along the trajectory. You're going to hate me at some point.
So you've actually picked some good clips because I actually not only do I agree with everything he said on those clips, I actually even agree with his delivery on those clips. I actually think even the way he delivered it was perfectly. He was perfectly sound, perfectly clear, perfectly like challenging arguments, perspectives. You know, I didn't find a short enough clip about Vivica Fox, but basically Vivica Fox.
I found it. Do you want it?
Okay, good. Yeah, go and show it.
I'm not gonna. Do you want it? Pause.
Super pause. We'll go back.
I can't let that.
But
just go.
I lost today, so it don't really
whole
matter.
side eye, like what the hell? Is he kidding me? Healing, healthy. This man was a hypocrite. In my honest opinion, he really was. I didn't find anything about him to be healing. He insulted African-American women on a consistent basis. One of his last statements that he said was that if you're over 38 and you haven't married or something like that, that you're no good and disposable. To me, he was a shock jock. And, you know, I hope this is teaching folks a lesson about the karma that you put out, the negativity that you put out in the world, that when karma comes knocking at your door, she might not be so kind. So, you know, the fact that he killed over real quick and was supposedly with a woman that we don't yet know the nationality. Rest in peace. Well, me and
yeah. It's a lot of energy there. Kevin, Brady says Kevin definitely did more harm than good. I don't disagree that he did a lot of harm. I don't disagree. And the harm, and when I say harm, I mean his delivery was harsh. It didn't make a lot of things that he said any less true. I will also say this, because oftentimes we will have conversations about Kevin Samuels on this podcast. A lot of times we would have conversations and a lot of people would say on there, you know, John, this is problematic that men think this way, that men have this thought process, whatever the case may be. And they would say how problematic, how wrong, how terrible, how stupid it is that men have this line of thinking. I don't want to combat the line of thinking that men have. I want to exploit the fact that Kevin Samuels would use whatever line of thinking that men had and would create and help women understand, or try to help women understand how men think. And I'm like, to me, it opened the door for more conversation than ever before between men and women, and on topics that men would not normally have brought up at the table or in their Black households.
So you know what's so funny? I think about that. Like the reason why I said I would never say that he did harm. He has no political power. I don't wish death on anybody who does not have any political power. He has no determined. You could just not follow him. So that my thing about when I think about harm, you could just click. The people who I will to this day, sober, not sober, wish the ultimate death, despise. I wish they got the guillotine, burned at the stake, shot in front of a firing squad, or people like Trump, people like the politicians like from Florida and some of them Texas, because they, with the stroke of a pen or with their ideology, can affect people and affect their livelihood. And so somebody like that to me does harm. This person who just has an opinion, just click, I just move. You know, what's so funny is and it made me think what you said, something you said even about Trump, right? I think about Trump is because to me, Trump had no harm till he got in office, right? And then he started doing more harm. But the one thing what somebody said before is I'm not mad at him because he exposed that this is how people think. And one thing I was able to see really quickly is people who align with him that I worked with, that I was friends with, I was like, yep, I can't rock with you. Because if you support his ideology, it let me know quickly before you could hide. But now you ain't hiding. Now you emboldened. Makes sense? And there was an emboldened level of racism that happened once Trump became president. And that's my issue. When I say, and I'm hearing Alicia's thing, whatever it was, or etc., they chose to go on his show though.
Why are you disappointed with the? I don't understand why are you disappointed in the clips we chose? Why would that be? I'm confused.
I don't have anything wrong. With those clips.
I wouldn't want to choose a clip that. I felt like we've seen a lot of the clips where he just goes in on the women.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was a lot of that was for the viralness of it, right? Like
it's clickbait. So Vivica said that. I agree. I agree with Vivica. I do agree with Vivica. Vivica, he was very.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He was very clickbaitish. I think so. What I will say is, and I'm playing devil's advocate. I play devil's advocate. The fact that you start doing things just to get clicks and to get likes, to me, at that point, you transition from wanting to help. So I can't go out and say he really wants to help women. I can't do that.
I don't think he wants to help women. No.
Yeah. So I'm not saying you said it. I said some people think like he wants to like get women. No, he doesn't. Because if he did, he's not. He's saying things just to get more exposure, more likes. And the moment where, and I understand it's a business, but the moment where the money of the business is more important than the purpose of the business, then to me, you've lost you lost your goal.
Yeah.
And so,
and Jamal says he was able to stroke the black male ego at the same time demean black women. That's super polarizing, and I don't disagree. It is polarizing.
It's very polarizing.
I think where I have a lot of pause is that I've had a lot of women around me that have been more strong and they have made it difficult to have these conversations in a way that won't be combative. Most black women that I've been around don't, I'm the one that's going to, in most cases, fight people down to the ground, like verbally. I'm usually that person, right? Even I don't have the energy to go and it costs it. What's the point? Like, to only help you have an enlightened view? Fine. Keep thinking the way you think about it and be single. That's an easier bet. Like, that's easy. Like, all right, I know how men think. I know I've had many discussions with men and how they think. And maybe he did not do it the correct way delivery-wise. I absolutely agree with that. I'm not saying he came across as a great person. I am not saying that. But I'm saying some of the root things that he was saying were very true for not just black men, but men as a whole, in my opinion. And I know I didn't want to have those conversations with nobody at Thanksgiving or at Christmas or in any kind of circle or space with black women, because a lot of times black women have made it difficult for a man to give his actual thoughts or opinions and never really made to feel comfortable to give his thoughts, feelings, or opinions at a table without being, ran over by their thoughts, opinions, because they're louder in most cases. They are unified on their thoughts, and most men haven't had a chance to sit down and talk about what they think. So when those things go back and forth together, it makes it very difficult. And these are, of course, people are going to disagree with my own lived and breathed experiences. I'm okay with that. But I want to just make it clear as to why I understand for somebody like me watching it all go down. I'm like, man, listen, I get it. I don't want to have to bring this thing up. And Kevin Samuels is saying a lot of things that I know I've thought before and just be like, man, whatever, and just walk away and live my own life, even if it benefits or helps black women or any other women that I know.
I will add, I've echoed this thing to the core. The reason why I used to hate Kevin Samuels is because, and I actually don't really care what anybody thinks. I know for a fact he had some valid points. I can't leave this. Like, I don't think he was always right. I think maybe even greater times he was more wrong than right. But I didn't watch just the clickbaits. I used to watch full episodes. Make sense? Because I wanted okay, like he's coming so harsh. Why is he coming so harsh? Let me see the before and after. Makes sense? I'm watching the whole episode, whatever it was, and he would have some serious valid points. But how he said it, who he was saying it to, when he would say it, and sometimes why he would say it was so unpalatable. If I'm saying that word wrong, it was not palatable to the audience he was saying it to. So therefore, like we were talking about earlier, to me, the ultimate goal of a communication is it needs to reach its target audience and cause change. And because I may agree with maybe, and I had to find myself kind of like not justifying, but like, okay, when he says this, he means this. Okay, when he says this, he really means this. I had to do that too much with him. And because I had to do that too much with him, it's like I can't even palate it. Because I gotta
So let's speak to one of the things they're saying is they give an example. So when he's speaking to this aspect of delusion that I think does exist, or this sense of even there were times in clips, and I can even show another clip if you guys want, but there were times where he would speak to even this sense of like the idea that women don't need a man. I mean, this idea that my income matters more than anything, right? Like, so a lot of the women that would get on the show would talk about, oh, I make this amount of money, and this is what makes me worth it. This is what makes me what a man would want. I make this amount of money. You know what I'm saying? Therefore, it makes me somehow equatable, or that's what a man is looking for, and not equatable, but that's what a man's looking for. And that is a problematic statement for me as a man, knowing that men don't care about that.
We don't care about that,
and you think that matters is like, oh, well, you're not even close. Like,
it'd be the question, like, what do you bring to the table? And she's like, well, I got a 6-figure salary, and I got my own house. I got my and like the only thing Kevin was trying to say in a way is that's with us that we don't care about that. And broad strokes. When I say so, we're always talking broad strokes. Broad strokes. Men don't care about that. Like that with. And if the term high value, low value, whatever it is a concept, whatever you want to say, it's a concept. Mm-hmm. A high value woman is not about her income, while a high value man is kind of specifically about his income in terms of the social structure that we live in. Right. So the issue is, I think sometimes people gotta. And somebody said this to me recently, and I thought it was a very powerful statement about something different. But what they said was, I think it was really good. It's somebody said to me is that, Terrence, sometimes some things bother you is because you don't live in that world, so therefore you don't think that world exists because you don't live in that world. Mm-hmm. And so now you're ignoring a reality that exists for a lot of people, not maybe most, but a lot of people, because you don't think like that. So then you try to ignore that you try to ignore that it even exists. And so I think that's what it is just because some of us, I don't really care about what a man makes. I don't really care about his income. I'm not like that. I care more about his heart. That's great. You're like that. But there is a huge body of women in America who, when you ask about
who seem to be like,
whatever it is, who what when a guy brings to the table, it is about, yes, like Alicia, it is about what I bring to the table is it starts with my income. And with guys, with a large portion of men. Now, I'm not talking about some, no offense, I'm about to ride on. I'm not talking about some bum off the street who wants to like live off your house. He ain't got nothing. We're not talking about that because those shouldn't interest you anyway. I'm talking about a guy who is in that you seek to gain, who you think is on your level, whatever it is. You say, well, I got my house, I got my car, I got my own job, I can pay my own bills. We don't care about that. And he's just echoing that. Guys don't care about that. And there's all these women like, that's not true. Or but and how you want to, you can't, I will echo one thing that John says. Like, I will say this. It's not about whether I agree with what Kevin Samuels says or whatever it is. It's the issue is I'm agreeing that there's a majority of men who think how he thinks. You got to honor that. Wherever I'm saying that's a good, we're not here to define good or bad.
Right.
We're trying to simple fact is there is a plethora of guys who think some of the things that he's saying, maybe not the way he's saying that, the harshness or whatever it is, but that aligns with some of men's thinking. And so for you to not even want to open to that and just say, nah. I
think that's the part that kills me, T, it is absolutely the lack of regard for if a man is telling you what a man thinks, and then the woman is like, nah, y'all don't think that. That's where I'm like, okay. You clearly must know better than I know about myself and a lot of the men that obviously men are more open, just as women are. Women are more open about women, and I don't presume to understand women better. I don't try to be like, oh no, y'all don't think that way. I don't roll that way. If a woman is telling me, yo, this is how we think, this is how I'm like, oh okay, I didn't know that. That's more my energy, like for a woman. But for a man to be like, I'm like, yo, we don't think that way. And then a woman to be like, nah, y'all do. Or nah, y'all do want that. And no, I'm telling you exactly what we do want and what we don't want and what we do care about and what we don't care about. And so when we go into salary, I guess what is problematic more so even in this conversation about capitalism is, man, I'm seeing so much stuff. And it's not just on TikTok, Instagram, everything. It's like men's value is about their income. We have been diminished as men to how much money do you make? And if you aren't making 6 figures plus, you are not the man. You are not the man and you are not a man, right? And you are not to be recognized as a man. And until you get that amount of money, until you have this amount of income, you're not a man. And you're not a provider, you're not this and you're not that. So it's like, it's a war on the traditional roles in which we live by. That we used to be able to say, okay, well, men provide for their families or wives, whatever, and women take care of their homes or whatever. Now everything has shifted and the power dynamics have all changed. And now we have been deduced as men as like, yo, if you don't have 6 figures, if you ain't out here killing it, making $250,000 a year, you're not a man. I've seen people post just like that. And I'm like, wait, what? That's all that matters, is that if I make a certain amount of money, then I'm a man. Help make this.
And I actually agree with Alicia's last 2 points. But I'm just so Alicia said, I hear you. I think we also need to consider that why women say this is a lot of them have to fend for themselves and provide for themselves. That's great. I agree with that. But the only point I'm just saying is what Kevin Samuels' point is men don't care about that. Like broad strokes. I'm always gonna keep saying broad strokes. Like if I ask you what you bring to the table, I'm 9 times out of 10 not talking about your salary. Yet, because Alicia said men made it that way, and it's sad. There's an issue of where women think this is an equality thing and it's an equity thing. It's not equality. You don't get to bring the same thing to the table that I bring to the table. You don't get to you don't get to, because we're not equal. We will never be equal. We're just not. And to me, when I say we're not equal, I'm not talking about one is less and one is. I'm not talking about greater or less. I'm just saying we're not the same. And so sometimes people hear that, that means I'm valuing one and putting the other one below. No, I'm just saying we need to understand our differences. We're not the same. And so for example, as a woman wouldn't be the thing I said. Yeah, I agree. So for example, let me make another example. Like if as a man, what I bring to the table or whatever it was, or etc. I can't say that's going to attract a lot of women that I bring to the table. I'm compassionate. I'm supportive. If a woman, what else do I bring? I'm very nurturing. I'm a good caretaker. I know how to cook. I can the vast majority of women could say, "Oh, that's cute. That's great." I'm just saying broad strokes, whatever. Okay, cool. It's still going to result to. So, what do you do for a living? Oh, I work at McDonald's. So everything I just said is just null and void, off the top. Don't matter how compassionate, considerate, caring I is.
To
Broad
men, you're
strokes.
saying, or
No, I'm
to-
saying if a man says that to a woman, makes it like says
okay,
that.
okay,
You see where I'm going? Like it's just it doesn't equate. It doesn't equate, right? Wow, because broad strokes. I think Kevin never did a good conversation. Broad strokes. Most men are often viewed, as John said, about how much money they make, about their ability to provide and protect. That's what I'm saying. The ability to provide and protect is what makes men value higher in this country, right? The more I'm able to provide usually means the more I'm able to protect. The higher my salary, the more I'm able to, etc. Blah 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 blah. And so I'm not saying it's true. I'm just saying that's the mentality it is. And so I don't get to bring to the table the same things you bring to the table, And so while, like it's just different with what men are often hearing. If we ask the question, I'm not even getting into argument whether we should. If I'm asking, in other words, why, what is it about you that's going to really captivate me? You can't lead with, I got my own job and I got my own car, right? At this point, so what? And he's trying to say that, but I don't think so. That's just one example, right? I think one example of, like of Alicia's point where he had an argument and what was countering is that wasn't true. But yet I've seen women post this, I've literally, it's not even Kevin Samuels. I've seen women post what I bring to the table. I got, listen, this is my house. This is my car. This is, and every man underneath is like, so who cares? Who cares? Oh, that's cute. That's great. So you can argue with Kevin Samuels, but you mean the 3,000 men that have commented on this post that are literally telling you, I don't care about that. You're going to say, you're lying. That's not true. And I'll be like, okay.
Yeah, that's what my point. My initial point was, is that I don't have a bone to fight in this particular thing. I think Subsfit says, y'all get mad at how this brother logically made women see how delusional a lot of them are with regards to their own dating standards. People forget he was the same with men as well.
He did hold men accountable very harsh, but the clickbait was the women.
Right. He obviously became more, a bigger name, a bigger household name once he started going towards the women.
Yeah.
I think in all honesty, I think a little bit of both is true. Like he did, in my opinion, when I say that, I believe he did help move culture forward in a sense that even if it's a sense that like he illuminated to me or us as men, they don't even know what we want or like. They don't have no idea that that's not what we care about. Like to Terrence's point, I think that's an important thing to unpack and uncover. It's like, oh yeah, y'all don't even know that don't matter to us. That's an important thing. Like you're over here doing all these. If you're over here achieving as a woman, because that's all you can do until a man decides. Because let's be real, a man gives access to dating and marriage. A man opens that door. The woman don't open that door for to be chose. Like the man chooses the woman, and at least how culture has been formed as of right now. So women, until that happens, they achieve. What else can they do but achieve? So they go and they get their degree and they start their company if they want to, and open their LLC, whatever case may be, and then have their business and thrive and get successful, whatever. And I think yes, what else can they do? But also, if they're thinking that they're doing it and getting somehow gaining traction with men, that's a fallacy. Like if you think you're getting somewhere and a man's gonna want you based on that alone, I think that's a good thing to know while you're building your business and stuff like that. You should be building your business and stuff like that for you. Don't do that for a man and get a man's attention. I think trying to understand what gets a man's attention has to do more with the respect factors. It has to do with how do you manage your own tongue and temper your own tongue and your own temperament. How do you make sure what things do you look to take care of your man ahead of yourself? Are you looking at out, like we've talked about before, out serving each other? These are all things that matter in like a dating relationship. And you see, these are things that are seen through dating and not even really seen just as I see you walking down the street type thing, right? Like
I'm looking at the comments here, and I kind of disagree, Jam. I think I've heard gender wars for years. Like
you gotta read. What are you talking about?
He said I didn't hear gender war until Kevin Samuels was around, and I don't know if I agree with that. I think we've been at war. There's been gender war since women's suffrage, and I've always been adamant. I'm always blaming men for the gender war. I've been very clear about that. I blame men 100% for the fact that we have a gender war. Makes sense? Just like I blame European Americans for the reason why we have racism. So it's just like 100%. I agree. So that's true. That's James' experience. I don't think so. When I say I don't know about John said move the culture forward. What I'm saying, I do see more down. I'm not saying he moved the culture forward. I'm not going to debate that. What I am going to say is he opened up the conversation before, and I've seen it because I've seen more women questioning. Okay, at least want to participate in the conversation. So if you don't want that, then what do you want? And I don't think we saw that before. Mm-hmm. I don't think until he pushed back. I don't think this was a topic of conversation, whether you agree or disagree with his side. Until he started becoming clickbait, I think I started seeing more conversations about how each other think. And I've said this before. I'm a firm believer in, like I said, I don't agree with I can't even say I agree with majority of what Kevin Samuel said. I can't go out here and say he was all wrong about a lot of his points. If you want me to be on that side, you're not gonna get me on that side. You're not gonna see and tell me that this guy was wrong with a lot of his points that he made towards men and women. I can't be there. Makes sense because I'm hearing what he said. That's number one. Number two, you're not gonna get me on this. I am a firm believer is that you have to involve. There's a lot of, and I've said it before, there's a lot of people who want to stick with their sex with complaints about the opposite sex, and they never involve people of the same sex. And that's my point. If your goal, if you are a heterosexual person and your goal is to ultimately get the interest of someone of the opposite sex, then you need to involve people of the opposite sex into the ideology. It's too many people, both sides, men and women, whatever it is. Like I got opinions about to me it's the same thing as a man trying to police a woman's body. It's like and we don't get to do that. To me, you as a man have one goal here. When it comes to a woman's body, is to shut the F up forever. It's not your responsibility. You don't ever say so. Just shut up. It's the same thing about. I think as far as whenever I hear men saying, a good woman does this, a good woman does this. You're not a woman, bro. You got a vagina? Then shut up. You're not a woman. You don't get the right to say what a good woman it is. What you can say is, I want a woman who does this, but you can't say. And I be seeing so many posts of women and baby mamas is saying, well, a good woman, a good man is a man who does this. Shut up. You're not a man. Like you're not a man. Like you can say, I want a man who does these things. You don't get the right to say, in my opinion, you should be quiet when it comes to what a good man is. If you are not involving other men into this conversation, and there's too many people staying on their same side of the aisle, making opinions of somebody on the other side of the aisle and not reaching over. And to me, that's where we clash. You got to involve somebody of the opposite sex, in my opinion.
Yeah, that you said a lot there. I want to just go with this, and we're going to kind of wrap this up. Alicia says, all I see is that men have become more misogynistic, violence, etc. KS or Kevin Samuel was abusive in his speech. She said a lot of good things that I want to highlight. Yeah. She said, I've been hearing men talk down on black women all my life. That's why this idea of men finally being heard, I don't get it. To that point, I hear you. I don't know if I've experienced it as much, or if here's me being very honest, Alicia. I don't know if I've been awakened to it to the degree you have been. I think now I'm seeing it more because of it's all like seen, everything's happening, right? Because of social media. But I don't think I was seeing it as much and as often as I now feel like I see it. But I don't know if that's because of Kevin Samuels that I now be like, oh dang, that was like when I first heard Kevin Samuels stuff, I was like, man, that was harsh. But he wasn't lying. Like that was my honest opinion. And to that other, okay, go ahead, T. I'm sorry.
Listen, so I'm not disagreeing with Alicia. Like I said again, I'm not disagreeing with Alicia says because she's a woman. I'm not disagreeing that he has not done harm to harm because that's Alicia's experience, and she's a woman living through that experience. Makes sense. She's going through that. My first time hearing Kevin Samuels was the clip that you played, and he was talking to this white girl.
Mm-hmm.
My first time ever hearing Kevin Samuels speak was that conversation. I was glad you played that clip. Was him talking to her about her idea of fairness and how he was shattering her idea of fairness, and he was 100% right to her. It was she had no issue. She had no problems with fairness. When she got to get into the club because she was attractive, while the ugly girls had to wait outside, she had no issues then. You know, but she wanted fairness when it benefited her. I didn't think that's my first time. I'm like, dang, yo, he right here. That's true. Like I didn't have an issue with what he said, and to me, it had nothing to do with black women. So I couldn't discount that. I do think there's proof. There's enough proof, and there's enough clips. There's enough evidence that he was very. Whether he targeted black women or whether he had things with all women, I would say based off of the evidence, a lot of the clips were there were a lot of black women. He had a lot of black women callers, you know, and so most of his, I can't disagree that somebody would feel that way. I'm 100% with it.
I mean, if that was his market, that's
his
him
market.
calling in.
Yeah.
And again, I already told you how I feel about the people. They're calling in to knowing that he does this, knowing that he's going to drag them. They call like that. To me, that bothers me on the level of a woman, because I'm like, what point? I can see how we can hold Kevin Samuels accountable for being reckless with his behavior of how he talks to black women. I also am not going to, two things can be true. I also am not going to let these women off the hook for picking up their phone or getting on a computer and asking him for his opinion, because they asked for his freaking opinion. Alicia,
and I agree. Alicia said he said that, like, he said he literally said black people were ugly playing, and I'm not discounting. He said it.
Say what you said. Say what
she
you
said.
said.
He literally said black women were the ugliest people on this planet, and I didn't think I didn't know either. One thing I was privy of is his opinion, which I don't necessarily think I share. His generalization of all black women were such and such, and I was always like, I hate when people do that, like across the board when they attribute something. I don't like it when somebody attributes anything to a skin color.
Yeah,
makes sense, because a black woman in Baltimore City is vastly different to a black woman in this part of the world.
Washington D.C.
No, that might be the same. Okay. But I'm just saying, like, whenever you attribute something to a skin tone, I always cringe, because the color of your skin doesn't dictate something. It's the culture around you where you are experienced. You know, it makes sense. And so I have an issue. I agree. I did see that, and I always cringe when he would do that, because I don't agree that. Whenever somebody says like black, no, I'm done. Like, I tune out immediately. And so I can't rock, which is why I've always said I do not agree with a lot of things he said. I actually disagree with a lot of things he said, but you won't get me on, you won't get me to say publicly, whatever, that there are not full episodes and full clips where Kevin Samuels was 100% right. And not only do I 100% right, makes sense. And so
Alicia says, even if he spoke truth, the truth is saddening. It grieves me if men really think like this. And that's kind of my point, is that they do. That's my point. Like you can, like, and I'm with you, Alicia. I love that you feel the way you feel about that. Like, man, if y'all really think this is really bad, I love that. But the issue is, imagine that we've thought this for years, and there was never a Kevin Samuels to even say that we felt this. Talk about suffering in silence. How many people could have like been saved from bad outcomes if they were able to even feel confident or enough in those spaces to say, man, this is what I actually really feel. And I'm not loving. Listen, let me be very, very clear. I do not stand next to how he talked to black women. I don't love that. But if it does engage us in better communication and conversation about topics that were never touched before, I do love that. Because finally we can have a conversation about something more in a robust manner in which I can say what I think and feel, and you can too. And it's not like a one side, because for so long in a lot of families, especially ones without fathers, there's been a lot of like women just speaking and saying their ideology to men. And so, and in my opinion, and men just kind of sitting there and just, oh, that's what y'all think. And knowing that they don't agree, but won't be bold enough to say they don't agree for whatever reason. So I just want to say, I'm not saying he's the next Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, nothing like that, right? I'm literally just saying, man, he gave a sense of like, yo, I think that, and if you think that it's bad to think that, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about how that's problematic thought, because I actually, truthfully, really think that, and I feel like we can now move forward in knowing that you now know that I think that. Before, you never knew I thought that. You didn't know that because I would never tell you, because maybe your community of people made me feel like I should never bring it up that I think that. But now I feel more comfortable and confident because he did it first. Now I'm like, man, now I feel like I can say something about it.
And I'm gonna add to this point. I also like, see, and I try not to get in my feelings about that. I also feel like what some women need to understand is there are a vast majority of men who will never make six figures, and who often feel looked down upon by women, who will never be this high value man. You don't have a right to tell them that they don't feel that way. I gotta say that, like, as a member of the male community who might not ever make $250,000 a year, who often feels less than as compared to somebody else, and has had, through my experience, has had women say, like, well, you don't make this and you don't provide this, so what are you going to do for me? Has had that happen. Has had friends who had this happen. How are you going to look down for men for aligning with that if that's been their experience with women? And he's taking the conversation to women saying that these men have something else to bring to the table. Just because they don't make six figures, why is your goal looking for the six-figure man? And these women are out there saying, like, he's flat out asking them, woman after woman on the show, your ideal man, what does he make? He makes this. He's got to be able to do this. He's got to be doing this. So my thing is, I said it before, Alicia, I don't think you are, which is why we said last week, you are an anomaly. I think you are, because you have a good spirit, whatever, etc. It is. I don't think that applies to you, which is why you should chew the meat, spit out the bones. None of his stuff probably applies to you. None of his stuff probably applies to Jam. None of his stuff even probably applies to me, whatever it is. I can't discount that that's not a shared experience for a lot of men who are plumbers, they are carpenters, they're this, they're that, they're et cetera, 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 et cetera. And there's these pockets of women that don't even look their way. Don't even look their way.
Yeah.
Because they're all aiming. And what he was, Johnny, he would bring up this point. So you want, let me get, and I hate when you argue with numbers. You want a black man who's high value, which means he's making $250,000 a year. Don't got no kids, blah, 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 blah. And he says, okay, so cool. You know what percentage of black men make that in America?
Right.
1%. So you need, so what he's saying is, instead of you only dating black men, won't you open up your spectrum a little bit? Because if you're only dating black men, you've just now lowered your pool. It's just logic. He's kicking out logic. If you're only dating black men, only 1% of black men make that kind of money. So you've now just lowered your chances of really finding what you want. So you need to open up your dating pool a little bit. He didn't say it like that, which I wanted him to say. Like, I want him to say it like that. You need to broaden your horizons, whatever it is. I'm not saying you won't find one, but and this is the last thing I'm saying. I'll give this good scenario. And I hope this analogy makes sense. If I give you open your hand and put a whole bunch of Skittles in your hand, and I tell you, close your eyes, right? And out this bag of Skittles, let's say out that bag of Skittles, there's 25 red Skittles in that bag, right? I took out 20. And I'm telling you, close your eyes, and you got to find a red Skittle, right? Now, there's only 5 out of the 100 Skittles left that's red. What you've just now done is I've just removed your opportunity to pick out a red Skittle. Could you find one? Yeah, you possibly will find a red Skittle, but your chances now are more difficult.
Right.
So, but if I say now, don't go for the red, go for green, blue, or whatever Skittle you got. Now, when you go in that pool, you got a better chance of getting what you want as long as they meet a certain criteria. That's what I thought. Sometimes he was just presenting logic. Change your dating pool. Change what you're going after. Because now he said some things on the flip side I disagree with. If you got this, you will never get. I hate. Don't do that. Like that last thing he said, you're 38, you ain't got no kids. You're nah, bye. That's
well,
not
the last
true.
thing. That's the last thing he said before he died. So
yeah, that's not. I can't rock with you with that. I can't, bro.
I mean, it's a tough thing to say, and again, we don't agree with everything, and we want to be clear about that. And I think a lot of what Jamal, you're saying a lot of good things as well, man. I think the bottom line for me is I've overwhelmingly been around a lot of women that have perpetuated their narratives, and so I agree that it's not right that now he's perpetuating his narrative. However, you're talking about 20 years of Black women perpetuating their narrative, maybe 4 years of Kevin Samuels perpetuating his narrative. It's in my mind, I'm like, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with those statistics. I'm okay with that as a reality. So
yeah, his delivery, and I agree with some points. His delivery is like, you'll die alone. Alicia always like that's like that. First of all, you damn somebody. I hate that.
Like legit. Let's be real about this. I mean, this guy has a show. Okay, so we gotta stop. Yeah. We gotta stop and realize there are certain levels of like, okay, this is for
entertainment.
I know you're gonna. I know I'm gonna be hot when I wake up in the morning, right? Because I done slammed them down all night, and now in the morning I know they're gonna be like, man, listen to what he just said about this woman. And they kept calling, and they keep calling, and they kept calling. Okay, so we can't be sitting. It's so funny how now everybody's celebrating that Kevin Samuels is dead, but they were the same ones that was like, what did he say today? What did he say about this? Man, let me listen to that. I mean, they were listening to his stuff. His stuff he had millions. We have 5 people on here right now. He had millions of listeners. Okay, we're talking about the quality content. People don't want to hear quality content. They don't want to have robust conversations about like, how to think this through and really navigate this. They don't want to do that. If we were over here calling everybody's hoes and and saying that, we would have hundreds of people trying to follow this thing. But the reality is that a lot of that stuff is for entertainment value, and it wasn't okay. Like I'm being very clear. I have a Black mom. I have a Black dad. It's not okay at all. It's not. I'm not trying to excuse any of that. What I do want 2 things can be true though, guys. It's not okay, but man, I felt like, wow, there are some things that I have thought being at Thanksgiving dinner that I never felt like I could ever say before. That he by saying it made it okay to say, hey, let's talk. This is I align with this ideology in this way. What do y'all think about that? And when I brought up Kevin Samuels, and I told y'all on this podcast, I brought up Kevin Samuels last Thanksgiving. It was the conversation went all the way left. It was like, man, I can't believe that John thought that. Yeah, I did. And I do. And I still do. And I don't care nothing about what y'all thought, because y'all thinking about it is not what I think. And it's okay. Breathe out. All right, guys. Thank you so much for checking out the Valencia Real Podcast, where we discuss real, raw, relatable content. I know it's so sad Kevin Samuels is dead. I know you're going to be so upset about it.
I don't care.
They're like, man, thank God he's gone. Either way, my name is John.
And I'm going to wear a shirt that just says pause next week, because I'm still on my comment earlier with me. I apologize, John, to offend you. Like, it will never happen again. So
how'd you offend me? What are you talking about?
When I had we're not even going to go there. I'm just going to wear a big shirt that just has a pause sign on it. That was very clear. As a matter of fact, I'm going to name myself. I'm going to name myself Pause next week.
I appreciate that. Guys, thank you so much for staying all the way through to the end of this podcast. I know it was extra long today. I agree, Alicia. I'm just sad GE didn't get a chance to repent. Oh, Kevin Samuels, I guess she was trying to say, didn't get a chance. Oh, he didn't get a chance to repent.
She said repent.
Yeah. I don't know. We don't know. He could have been calling on the Lord as he was smacking
I know Jesus. You don't know that.
He could have been calling on God as he was hitting her from. Anyway,
you're going to hell.
My name is John.
And I am Terrence.
I thought you were Don Julio. And thank you so much for taking time to listen to the Relentlessly Real Podcast. Well, I've been drinking too much. Relentlessly Real Podcast. Thank you guys. Peace.